Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you've been checking the lives, if you've been on Instagram, you know exactly where I'm at. We'll get to the sponsors first, and not kind of fill you back in. So, first, let's shout out my main man, Howard's Blend. Get yourself some of that pre workout, get yourself some of that protein. And also, if you haven't had a sample, let us know. All you got to do is send us a message. We'll send you out a sample free of charge on the house. Just drop a comment. It's no problem. Next up, shout out to my man Clarity. Check out what he has going on. And he brings us a moment of clarity. So check out the YouTube. You can see those. Next up, get the book Fear. See, I'm representing. If you guys want some merch, we have some merch. Get the new book. I just talked to, shout out to Patience. Patience is helping me with this. Shout out to Reagan Edits. They're helping me with this. The paperback will be out any day. We're just waiting on one little piece, and then we could get it out to the public paperback. The ebook is on the website, HAHOMES US. Go to merch. Get yourself an ebook. All the proceeds go to the Mary Kemp Foundation. So, we're going to jump right into it. Right now, some of y'all are like, where y'all at? Clearly, I'm not in the regular podcast studio. If it's a little noisy, I apologize. Right now, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. We just popped out, take a couple little trips. You know what I'm saying? Like a little 2-day trip, see what's going on out here. And you'll see that on the blog. But this is really our entrepreneur's life. So I made a decision. I could have postponed, missed, whatever the podcast, but that's not what we're going to do. I tried my best to get to where I had to go. Didn't work out. So right now I'm in the airport. You know, we're about to get a rental car, and then that's that. So without further ado, let's move right into the show. So today we're going to talk about old versus new, and this is an interesting conversation. Let's show the poll, Nova. So as always, we take two different sets of data, and as you can see, the total combined for old is 16. The total combined for new is 12. So people actually prefer old versus new in terms of buying things. Again, a lot of y'all are clients, so some of y'all are cheating with these answers, but I love it. At least y'all listening. That makes me happier. And I wish you could enjoy this view that I'm seeing over here. What y'all see is white. I wish I could turn this camera around, but there's a beautiful landscape of mountains. Y'all will see it in the podcast. Y'all will see it later. So I mean, I'll try my best. So let's jump right into some stats like always. So first up, I'm gonna talk about shelf life. Shelf life is how long something lasts, and this goes for all things. And we're gonna tease into this. So again, doing research, I didn't know some of this. I didn't know that honey doesn't have a shelf life. I didn't know that honey ever expired. It never does. Honey lasts for basically infinity, and so does sugar and vinegar. And I mean, as you see the chart going, you know, I could show you guys how it works, and then it goes down and around. But there are some things that have a very small shelf life. Pasta's a few years. But if you look at the top row and then the side in the blue, a lot of the things that we spend a lot of money on have a very, very short shelf life, like technology. As you can imagine, you know, technology is changing every day, so things grow a little bit faster, they get older a lot quicker. But maybe there's something more to that. So next up, let's see what our next slide is. So let's talk about Apple. Let's talk about tech, right? I'm using an iPhone right now, and some people are like, why don't you use earbuds? There's a couple of reasons why I don't use earbuds. One, I've never met somebody who hasn't lost earbuds, and the way I move, I lose them every week, so it's not a good expense for me. Two, they don't sit in my ear as well, and three, I'm afraid of the brain cancer. I'm afraid of the brain cancer. I never talk with my phone like this. It's very rare that I put my phone in my face. I usually use a cord or I use speakerphone. Probably still going to get it because we all probably are with all the tech around us, but I just want to prolong it a little bit. So let's talk about Apple. Apple made $5.6 billion. $5.6 billion off of accessories. I'm going to tell you what I mean by accessories in a second, but we're going to delve a little deeper. All right, let's get to the next slide, Nova. Let's break down what Apple made their money on in 2022. As you can see, the number one seller, iPhone. Laptops don't even sell close to that, right? iPhones sell almost 6 times more, actually 5 times more, 40 times 5, 200, 5 times more, right? iPads, nobody really uses them as much as you can see. but wearables, home, and accessories. And they also started selling data, but the accessories sell more than laptops. That's an interesting point, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Let's go to the next slide, Nova. Now we're going to talk about cars. I learned this doing the research on this. Is something I didn't know. I don't believe it, but I'm going to go with the data. I can't really argue the data if it's consistent across all platforms. So they say the average car lasts around 12 years right now. And what they said is that older cars lasted less time than these new cars. I'm kind of old. I'm not that old, but I don't remember cars being as flimsy as they are now. So that's a question we're going to ask later. So get your thoughts together. But what they said now is cars last 12 years and the parts they use are cheaper. So it's easier to fix a car and last longer and the technology and all that. But I don't know anybody that's driving a car for 12 years. Usually people buy cars 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They hold them. Even if it's a used car, they don't stay with them for 12 years. But just going with what the data said. And they said cars now last 200,000 miles, where back in the days they only lasted 100,000 miles. Let's go to our next and final slide, Nova. You should have one more. All right, let's see what we got. Okay. So we're going to move forward. So now we broke down Apple, we broke down their numbers, we broke down how they make their money. And then there's something I want to talk to you guys about. But before we get to that, we're going to ask this poll. And then I want to see what you guys think. Do you think that, we'll just keep it to cars. Do you think that new cars last longer or are made better than old cars? When we say old cars, let's cap it at 1990. Anything 1990 and earlier. So these 30 years versus the last 30 years. So cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s, or 60s, 70s, 80s up to 89. And then we're going to go 90 all the way up. So drop a comment and enjoy this commercial by Howard's Blend. And again, go check out Howard's website. Get that pre-workout. Check out some protein. Use the code HAHOMES. Get yourself 10% off. So now I want to get to a term some of you guys might have heard me use, but maybe not. And as I go through this, I'll respond to some of the comments that are coming up. So there's a term called planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence. This is when a company, whether it's a car company, a tech company, any company, they build things with the intent of them breaking or being obsolete in a given amount of time. Let's take Apple, for example, which is exactly why we talked about their accessories and how much money they make on the side. Every iPhone that comes out, or every other iPhone that comes out, has a new plug, has a new headset, has a new charger, has a new this, has a new that. They could very easily keep the same plugs, but they change them. And they even stop putting them in a package. If you remember long ago, you used to get an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac or whatever, or even back in the days like Nintendo's or whatever, you get 2 games, a cartridge, you get a storage drive. Like if you had a PS1, right, you get the little disc that you'd be able to save the cartridge, right, your memory card, or even an iPhone, you get headsets, you get all these things. They no longer come with those. Now, Apple said that it cuts production costs for them. The boxes are smaller, so it reduces waste. They said that they made the boxes smaller so that they could be more eco-friendly. But if you look at their numbers, you'll see that as the boxes got smaller and they stopped selling chargers and the boxes and all of those things, that they made more money by selling the accessories. Look at how much money they made selling earbuds as opposed to providing a headset for free. They're not done. This was all planned, and they had that technology years ago. I don't know if you remember, people back in 2005, 2006 would have earpieces. So it's not like the earbud technology didn't exist 10, 15, 20 years ago. They're scaffolding us so that we have to keep buying a new one and a new one and a new one and a new one. And I'm somebody that takes care of all of my stuff. I never drop my phone. I always keep it in a case. I treat my stuff well. But no matter what I do, my phone screens never have cracks, nothing like that. No matter what I do, every 18 months or 2 years or so, my phone starts slowing down. Things start going crazy with the phone. I wonder why that is. You tell me why you think in the comments. It's because they want me to buy that new iPhone. They want me to buy that new MacBook. They even charge for storage now. So they made these things knowing that they're not made to hold the storage that you're going to use with all these photographs and these GIFs and this new technology and these memes and all of these things. It's a way to make money. So when we're talking about new versus old, I'm also going to give you one more thing. I know most of you know me for real estate, so I'll give you a real estate example. In most places, rent is rent. So what I mean by that is a 3-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom apartment is going to cost the same as a 3-bedroom apartment or a 2-bedroom apartment. If you live across the street and you're in a 3-bedroom, and I live on this side of the street and I live in a 3-bedroom, we're going to assume same square footage, same type of floors. You still get the same water, same parking, traffic, no amenities. Let's just keep it like dollar for dollar, right? If we go dollar for dollar, what you'll notice is that if you pay, let's say, $400,000 for a brand new duplex, and I pay $200,000 for a duplex that's built 20 years ago, are you going to get twice the rent because you paid twice the price? Now, perhaps, let's say mine's antiquated. Let's say I have maybe like older cabinets. Let's say I have an older fridge. I'm not going to get half the rent because of it. Maybe 10%. So in terms of investment, I buy used. I don't buy new anything. I don't buy new cars. If you go back to the lease versus rental, we have depreciation. We talked about that. In the first 3 years, cars depreciate 30 to 40%. You lose 40% of the value in the first 3 years. I'd rather buy a 3-year-old car and pay that discount price and put the rest of my money in some sort of an investment. Basically, a 3-year-old car is still a new car, but I'm paying 30 to 40% less. So I want you guys to consider this. Again, the reason for this podcast is to give you guys something to think about when you're going to buy something, whether it's a new house. I talk to clients all the time. I want a brand new build. And then people I know, they buy something, and even a brand new build, something starts to break. The plumbing isn't right. The person did this so backwards. And then what happens? They're out of money and they're paid top dollar. So they don't have any money in their budget for repairs. Now, with an older house, you expect repairs. So usually you keep some money to the side. So when it comes to cars, when it comes to iPhones, when it comes to whatever it is, sometimes you might want to consider going used or going old, because dollar for dollar, it just doesn't add up. So I don't see many comments. I understand we were running around to see old cars are better. You rarely see a caddy on the side. That's true. Depends on how the car was used and maintained. So Howard, let's say we maintain the car well. Did the oil change and everything. Old cars, let's see, they're being good for a long haul. I agree. But it's a matter of opinion. Some people don't like the shape or the build or the lack of technology in older cars, so I understand that. I agree again. The iOS, they got us. They got us trapped, man. So we're going to spend that money, and that's why Apple's growing the way it is, and it's going to continue to grow the way it does, because we're locked in. So what we're going to do is, if I don't see any questions, nobody's trying to join the live, I'm going to sign off. It's unfortunate I can't see the mountains, but hey, it is what it is. I'm going to get ready to enjoy this vacation. I want to give everybody a shout out. Anybody that's celebrating their birthday, shout out to Geek, shout out to Coach, shout out to my man C-Web, related to Jude. Anybody else that's celebrating birthdays coming up, early birthday to Ray. Just everybody enjoy your days, man. Make them count the most. And thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend. You can get some merch. Peace.